Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into the story of a political figure who's been making headlines for, well, decades, really. And someone who recently, maybe against a lot of predictions, made some truly significant waves in Indian politics, challenging expectations, reshaping the whole landscape. We are talking about Rahul Gandhi. So this deep dive is all about understanding him. You know, a man born into one of the world's most famous political dynasties. His journey, it's been marked by, well, extraordinary privilege, sure, but also profound personal challenges, these dramatic political ups and downs, and maybe most compellingly, a surprising resilience. Our mission today is to cut through the noise, basically, help you understand how a leader, often labeled privileged, sometimes seen as lacking charisma, how he's evolved into such a key opposition figure, and what his unique story tells us, about political resilience today.
Right. And to give you that kind of comprehensive, nuanced understanding of who Rahul Gandhi is, not just the politician, but the person too, we've pulled from a pretty wide range of verified sources. We're talking established biographical encyclopedias, in-depth reports from major news outlets like Reuters, The Guardian, and even, candid sort of on-the-ground insights you find on platforms like YouTube and Reddit. So it's not just a timeline, it's more of an exploration.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning then. Rahul Gandhi, born June 19, 1970 in New Delhi.
Yeah, and his lineage, it's not just a footnote, is it? It's this political force in itself. Just imagine growing up in a family that's basically defined Indian politics for generations. Son of former PM Rajiv Gandhi, grandson of Indira Gandhi, great-grandson of Jawaharlal Nehru, all prime ministers. Plus his mother, Sonia Gandhi, and sister Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. That heritage, it puts immense expectations, and you can argue a kind of profound shadow over his life.
And with that name came some extraordinary and, frankly, quite heartbreaking security concerns. After his grandmother Indira Gandhi was assassinated in '84, he was actually homeschooled for several years. That's intense. Before that, though, he attended St. Columba's School in Delhi and the Doon School in Dehradun. Standard enough for that background, maybe.
Yeah, And his higher education journey, it really reflects this mix, doesn't it? Indian roots, global exposure. He initially enrolled at St. Stephen's College, Delhi. Then he shifted to Harvard University.
But here's where his personal life just dramatically intersected with everything. After his father, Rajiv Gandhi, was assassinated in 1991, well, he transferred, went to Rollins College in Florida, understandably seeking a lower profile, I imagine, during such a difficult time. He got his BA there in '94.
Exactly. And he rounded out his formal education with an MPhil in development studies from Trinity College, Cambridge in 1995. And that specific field, development studies, often focuses on economic and social change, which maybe gives a fascinating lens on his later political focus, particularly on inequality.
Okay, so with that academic foundation laid, what was he doing before stepping into the very public, very demanding world of politics? It's maybe not what you'd expect.
That's a great question, actually, because rather than jumping straight into politics, he started his career in the corporate world, specifically at the Monitor Group, the management consulting firm, in London. Then in 2002, he came back to India and founded Backup Services Private Ltd. It was an outsourcing technology consultancy based in Mumbai. So this hands-on experience, business technology, before public life, it's quite unusual for someone with that kind of deep political heritage.
Right. So his formal entry into politics, that came in 2004. He won his first Lok Sabha seat, that's India's lower house of parliament from Amethi, Uttar Pradesh, a constituency long linked to his family,
Absolutely. He held on to Amethi in 2009 and 2014 as well, really cementing his political presence there. But then, 2019, things got tricky. He faced a big challenge, actually lost Amethi, which was a huge shock for many. But interestingly, he simultaneously won a seat from Wayanad down in Kerala, which kind of highlighted his appeal wasn't just limited to the family stronghold.
And then fast forward to 2024, he made this really strategic move, captured national attention, didn't it? Contested from both Raebareli in Uttar Pradesh, another family bastion, and Wayanad, won both, and then chose to keep the Raebareli seat. Seems like a clear signal of strategic focus going back to UP.
Yeah, definitely. And throughout this whole electoral journey, he was taking on bigger roles within the Congress Party. In 2013, he was appointed Congress Party vice president, which effectively made him the de facto prime ministerial candidate for the 2014 elections. So while he wasn't formally declared, everyone kind of saw him as the main face of the party's campaign. It showed his growing, though maybe still informal, leadership. Then he served as the actual Congress president from December 2017 to July 2019.
Now, he faced a really significant challenge just recently, something many thought might even end his career. How did the sources cover that period? The legal stuff, the political fallout?
Well, it's a dramatic turning point.
Yeah.
March 2023, he gets convicted in a defamation case, sentenced to 2 years in prison. And under Indian law, that automatically meant disqualification from Parliament. For a lot of people, it looked like, well, maybe his political journey was over.
Right. It seemed pretty final at the time.
Exactly. But
Welcome
then,
to the
in
deep
this
dive.
really
Today
pivotal
we're
moment, August
plunging into the
2023,
story of a political
the
figure
Supreme
who's been
Court
making
dramatically
headlines
stays his
for,
conviction,
decades, really.
puts it on hold, and he was quickly
someone
reinstated as an MP. So this whole
recently, maybe
legal
against a lot of
battle and his
predictions,
eventual
made
reinstatement
some,
really tested
truly
his resilience,
significant
didn't
waves in
it?
Indian
Showcased the
politics.
unpredictable path
Challenging
he's been on.
expectations,
And
reshaping
following
the
that
whole
reinstatement, he
landscape,
played this
we are
absolutely
talking about
central
Rahul
role in
Gandhi.
Congress's
So
recent
this
campaigns.
deep dive is all
Most
about
notably,
understanding
leading
him.
the fight of
Man
Jodo
born in
Nyatra
20 world's
January to
most
March
famous political
2024.
dynasties.
That
His
was aimed
journey has been
squarely
marked
at
by,
addressing economic
extraordinary privilege,
inequalities.
sure, but also
And that
profound
built on the
personal
momentum from
challenges,
his
these
earlier
dramatic
Patriot
political
in
ups and downs.
2022,
And
that
maybe
massive walk
most
across
compellingly,
India,
a
which was
surprising
described as an effort to counter divisive
resilience.
politics,
Our
connect
mission
directly
today
with
is to
people.
cut through the noise.
Okay, so with
basically,
these
help you
huge
understand
yatras,
how
this
a
renewed
leader,
energy,
often labeled
the
privileged,
big question
sometimes
everyone
seen
was
as lacking
asking was,
charisma,
did
how
they
he's
actually
evolved
move the
into such a
needle?
key
I mean, what was the
opposition figure,
tangible
and what his
impact
unique
in the
story tells us,
2024
about political
elections?
resilience
Well, his efforts
today.
were undeniably impactful.
And to give you that kind of
certainly helped
comprehensive,
galvanize the
nuanced
opposition to
understanding
question
of who Rahul Gandhi
well, the BJP-led
is,
alliance
not just
still
the
formed the
politician,
government, but
his
the
campaigns
person
definitely
too,
helped
we've
the
pulled
India
from a pretty
alliance,
wide
that's the
range of
main
verified
opposition
sources.
coalition.
We're
Collectively,
talking established
win
biographical
234 seats in the
encyclopedias,
Lok Sabha polls.
in-depth reports
And
from
that
major news
significantly
outlets like
dented
Reuters,
the
The Guardian,
BJP's absolute
and
majority.
even,
It
candid
clearly
sort of
positioned
on-the-ground
Congress as a
insights you find on
revitalized
platforms like
opposition
YouTube
force.
and Reddit.
Quite a turnaround.
So it's not just a
really, from their
timeline,
previous
it's more of an
electoral
exploration.
showings.
Okay,
And
let's
as
start
of
right
June
at the beginning then.
2024, that
Rahul
strong
Gandhi,
showing
born
has put him
June
in a
19,
really significant
1970
position.
in New Delhi.
Leader of the
Yeah,
opposition
and his
in Lok Sabha,
lineage.
representing
I mean, it's not just a footnote, is it? It's this
That's a
political
major
force in
role.
itself.
Just
And
imagine
beyond
growing
his
up in
direct
a family
political
that's
roles, it's
basically
probably worth
defined
noting
Indian
his
politics for
continued
generations.
association with several
Son of
trusts
former
and
PM
foundations
Rajiv
set up
Gandhi,
by his
grandson
family.
of Indira Gandhi,
The Rajiv Gandhi
great-grandson
Foundation,
of Jawaharlal
Jawaharlal
Nehru, all
Nehru
prime
Memorial
ministers,
Fund, the Sanjay
plus his
Gandhi
mother,
Memorial
Sonia
Trust.
Gandhi, and
Yeah,
sister
and it's worth
Priyanka Gandhi
highlighting the
Vajra.
Rajiv
That
Gandhi
heritage,
Charitable
it
Trust
puts immense
specifically, maybe.
expectations. And
That
you could
focuses
argue
on
a kind of
critical
profound
issues like
shadow over his life.
education,
And with
healthcare,
that
poverty
name
reduction.
came some
Echoes that
extraordinary
long-standing
and
family
frankly
commitment to public service.
quite heartbreaking security
Okay,
concerns.
now let's shift focus
After his
a bit.
grandmother
Look at
Indira
the
Gandhi
man
was
behind the
assassinated in
politician.
84,
Sources often
he was
describe
actually
his early
homeschooled
persona
for
as
several years.
quite
That's
low
intense.
profile.
Before that, though,
private,
he attended St.
maybe
Columbus
even
School in
overshadowed by
Delhi
his sister
and the
Priyanka.
Doon
But
School in
how has public
Dehradun.
perception
Standard
evolved?
enough for that
And what are some of the
background,
more
maybe.
And his higher
personal
education
insights
journey,
we can
it
get
really
about him?
reflects this mix, doesn't
fascinating,
it?
isn't it?
Indian roots,
Because his public
global
image
exposure.
really has been such
He
a mixed
initially
bag.
enrolled at St. Stephen's
It kind of
College,
speaks to the
Delhi.
complexities
Then he
of
shifted to
dynastic
Harvard
politics.
University.
But
He
here's
does have
where
some
his
notable
personal
personal
life
interests.
just
For one,
dramatically
clearly
intersected with
prioritizes
everything.
fitness,
After
enjoys
his
cricket,
father,
travel.
Rajiv
He's even a
Gandhi was
certified scuba
assassinated
diving
in
instructor.
1991.
And there are those
Well, he
reports, you might have
transferred.
seen them, of him
Went
doing
to Rollins
single-hand
College in
push-ups in public,
Florida,
actively
understandably
commenting on
seeking a
his
lower
fitness.
profile, I
Right.
imagine, during
Yet,
such a difficult
despite
time. He got his
those
BA
glimpses
there in
of a
94.
maybe
Exactly.
more relatable side.
And he rounded out
Critics
his
have often
formal
labeled
education
him,
with an
privileged
MPhil
and
in
sometimes lacking
development studies
charisma.
from Trinity
I remember
College,
reading
Cambridge
about a
in
Reddit user
1995.
recalling
And that
something
specific
former
field,
President
development
Pranab
studies,
Mukherjee
often
supposedly
focuses
said,
on economic and
suggesting
social
that
change,
Yeah.
which
maybe politics
gives a
wasn't Rahul's
fascinating
calling,
lens on his
his
later
lack of
political
charisma.
focus, particularly on
So,
inequality.
How did these
so
seemingly
with
contradictory
that
views
academic foundation
coexist?
laid,
It's confusing. What was
That's
he
a crucial
doing
point,
before stepping
because
into
on one hand, you
the very
absolutely
public,
have that
very
critical
demanding
narrative,
world of
often
politics?
fueled by
It's maybe
media,
not what you'd
political
expect.
rivals. That's a great question, actually.
The whole
Because
Papu
rather
label
than jumping
basically
straight
calling
into
him immature
politics,
or just
he
daddy's
started his
boy.
career
Yet
in the
on the other
corporate
hand,
world,
there's this
specifically at the
counterperception
Monitor
that seems
Group,
to have
the
emerged,
management consulting
especially
firm,
from people who've actually
in London.
encountered him more directly.
Then in
maybe
2002,
without
he
the
came
media
back to
filter.
India and
Other
founded
Redditors,
Backup
for
Services,
instance, described
private
seeing him without
LTD.
heavy security,
There's an outsourcing
remarking how
technology
so chill he
consultancy
seemed.
based in
Some even
Mumbai.
called him handsome.
So this
highlighting
hands-on
his
experience,
approachable,
business
down-to-earth
technology
nature,
before public
which just
life,
darkly
it's
contrasts
quite
with
unusual
public
for someone
caricature,
with that
right?
kind
It's
of
just a
deep
real
political
disconnect
heritage.
between
Right,
the
so his
constructed
formal
media
entry into
image
politics that came
and
in
maybe the personal
2004.
interactions.
He won his first
That's a
Lok
really
Sabha
interesting
seat,
contrast,
that's
yeah.
India's lower
And
house of parliament,
despite
from
being the
Amethi
target
Uttar Uttar
of so
Pradesh,
much
Yeah.
trolling,
constituency
media,
long linked to his
ridicule.
family. Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's noted for
he
this
held on to
remarkable
Amethi in
resilience.
2009
How
and
has he managed to
2014
just
as
keep
well,
going through
really
such a
cementing his
consistent
political
barrage
presence
of
there.
criticism, and sometimes
But then,
he faced pretty hostile
2019,
interviews.
things got tricky. He
perseverance
faced
is,
a big
well,
challenge, actually lost
undeniable. I
Amethi,
mean,
which
he's
was a
been
huge shot
in
for
the
many.
spotlight under
But
immense
interestingly,
pressure
he
for
simultaneously won a
decades
seat
now.
from
The
Wayanad
ability
down in
to stay
Kerala,
composed under
which
fire,
kind of
to keep
highlighted his appeal
campaigning,
wasn't just
keep
limited to the
articulating
family
his vision
stronghold.
despite
And then
constant
fast forward to
personal attacks and
2024,
ridicule.
he made this really
It really
strategic
speaks volumes
move,
about his
captured national
determination.
attention,
It's a
didn't it?
testament, I think, to a
Contested
deep-seated
from both
resilience.
Raebareli
Whether
in
that's
Uttar
born of
Pradesh, another family
necessity or
bastion,
just
and Wayanad
conviction,
won both,
it's allowed him to
and
not
then
only
chose
weather
to
these
keep the
political
Raebareli
storms, but
seat.
actually
Seems like
emerge
a
from them
clear signal of
with renewed
strategic
purpose,
focus
as
going
we
back
saw
to
in the
UP.
2024
Yeah, definitely.
elections.
And throughout this
So
whole
when you try to
electoral journey,
synthesize all
he
of
was
this,
taking on
Rahul
bigger
Gandhi really
roles within the
emerges
Congress
as a
party. In 2013, he was appointed Congress Party Vice President, which effectively made him the de facto prime ministerial candidate for the 2014 elections. So while he wasn't formally declared, everyone kind of saw him as the main face of the party's campaign. He showed his growing, though maybe still informal, leadership. Then he served as the actual Congress president from
what does
December
all this mean for
2017 to
you,
July
the learner?
2019.
How does
No,
understanding
he
a
faced
figure
a
like Rahul
really
Gandhi
significant
help us
challenge
navigate
just
the
recently,
complexities
something many
of global
thought might even
politics,
end
of
his
leadership?
career?
Especially
How did
when
the sources
so
cover
much
that
of a leader's
period?
story
The
often
legal
feels like it's
stuff,
already
the
written
political
for them
fallout?
by
Well,
their
it's a dramatic
background or the
turning
media.
point. Well, here's a final thought
March
maybe to
2023,
consider.
he gets
Given his
convicted in a
dynastic
defamation
background, the
case,
huge
sentenced to 2
personal
years in prison.
challenges he's faced,
And under Indian
and his
law, that
surprising
automatically
political
meant
resurgence,
disqualification
even
from
after
Parliament.
facing
For a
disqualification.
lot of people, it looked like, well, maybe
What might his journey
political
tell us
journey was
about the
over.
very
Right, it seemed
nature
pretty
of
final at the
political
time.
resilience and
Exactly.
public perception in
But
our
then,
age of,
in this
well,
really pivotal
information
Welcome to the
overload?
deep dive.
What does it
Today
mean for a
we're
leader to truly
plunging into
connect
the
with
story
people
of a political
when there's
figure
such
who's
a
been making
powerful
headlines
narrative,
for,
both positive
well,
and
decades,
negative,
really.